What if I told you dangerous confidence isn't something you learn? It's something you stop suppressing. Right now, there's a version of you that speaks without permission, moves without apology, exists without explanation, but you've buried it under being nice. And nice is just fear with better manners. I'm going to reveal the precise 3-second neural override Fortune 500 CEOs, special forces soldiers, and shadow billionaires use to erase self-doubt on the spot and turn anxiety into raw, commanding presence. It's the same protocol that makes stuttering executives into boardroom predators, anxious soldiers into fearless operators, and ordinary men into psychological forces that warp rooms to their frequency. But hear this clearly. Once you engage this mental override, there's no going back. You'll be either grossly overconfident or lose the portion of yourself everyone finds safe. No middle ground. True confidence isn't when you feel powerful. It's that split second right before the room realizes you are. When you walk in without adjusting, speak without softening, exist without explaining. That's not arrogance, that's dangerous confidence. And 99% of people will never taste it. Why? Because there's a voice in your head that kills it before it can breathe. I call it the inner slave. And over the course of the next 55 minutes, I'm going to demonstrate to you precisely how to do it. Every significant failure in your life, every moment that you backed down when you needed to move forward, every opportunity you somehow sabotaged, was not bad luck, it was betrayal from within. This internal slave does not talk in weakness, it talks in wisdom. It does not tell you be afraid, it tells you be intelligent. It has been hiding your prison behind the mask of maturity for so long that you believe liberty sounds arrogant. Within the next hour, you'll learn the specific neural process that makes you jump and the 72-hour plan to erase it. The 3-second voice pattern that immediately transforms you from servant into sovereign. How to radiate presence so strong leaders adapt before you open your mouth. The inner slave execution technique that implants permanent hazardous confidence. Warning: when your inner slave dies, you won't be likable anymore. Stop being nice, stop being safe. Instead, you'll be psychologically untouchable, not because you're numb, but because no one can get under your skin. Still here? Then the comfortable you dies in. Section 1, Systemic Conditioning. The program in. Let me prove your inner slave exists, with just one question. When was the last time someone disrespected you and you responded with gratitude? Think about it. Perhaps your supervisor loaded a pile of additional work on your plate at 4:57 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, and you pasted on a smile with clenched teeth. No problem, happy to assist. Perhaps someone cut you off in mid-sentence during a meeting, and rather than taking back your space, you said, "Oh, sorry, you proceed." Perhaps a friend called to cancel plans for the 3rd time in succession, and you said, "No problem, totally get it." And you feel it now, a constriction in your chest, that subtle, uncomfortable glow. Because you know the truth, you have been conditioned to translate disrespect into courtesy. You've gotten so practiced in the dialect of surrender that it comes across as polite, professional, even mature. But it isn't. It's conditioning. That inner slave came with you when you were born. It was engineered into you, tactfully, consciously, over decades of covert psychological conditioning. Let's go back. Let's go to the moment your spirit was first broken. You're 5 years old. Your thoughts are quick, your voice honest, your ego unfettered. The teacher poses a question. You know the answer. Your hand goes up, but enthusiasm gets ahead of discipline, and you blurt out an answer before you're called on. Her face constricts. We raise our hands and wait here. The whole class turns to look. Your cheeks burn. Your shoulders droop. At that instant, your forming brain etches a new rule into its code. Speaking freely equals social punishment. That was day 1. At age 7, the program improves. Being quiet gains gold stars. Obeying earns compliments. Such a well-mannered child is your parents' favorite praise, without realizing they're complimenting your compliance, not your person. They glow when teachers offer. They're easy to manage, easy to manage. Allow that to resonate in your head. You weren't being taught, you were being trained, rewarded like a prize dog for mastering submission. And the more intelligent you were, the deeper the hooks penetrated. Intelligent children learn the rules quickly. They learn that standing out is punished, and that conforming is protected. So you mastered the art of hiding your own genius, of adapting in plain sight, of shrinking to avoid being noticed. You recall the rebels, the student who asked the question, Who disrupted the script? Who would not submit? You recall how they were treated, how the system devoured them and used their failure as an example to the rest of you. And you entered into an unspoken agreement with yourself. Not me. I'll be more intelligent. I'll play the game. But playing the game was now playing dead. By high school, the program no longer required teachers or parents. It was autonomous. It now whispered in your own voice. Don't be too confident. They'll call you arrogant. Don't speak too directly. They'll call you aggressive. Don't want too much. They'll call you greedy. Don't take up space. They'll call you selfish. It was always about not doing what they might do, never about what you truly desired. And then there was the second level of conditioning, cultural programming. Culture marketed you, the most lucrative lie in human history. Nice guys finish first. But all of the empires throughout history were created by individuals who knew a much darker reality. Control belief, control behavior. They clothed weakness with the disguise of virtue and marketed it to you as morality. Remember the tales you were brought up on, the films, the cartoons, the fairy tales. The hero is always unselfish, always fair, always giving up his own strength for the greater good. And who tells those stories? Who pays for those movies? The same men who constructed their kingdoms by defying every rule they taught you to obey. You were conditioned with propaganda, not to be a leader, not to be free, but to be controllable. But the deepest conditioning that occurred within your pocket, social media, the slave master's masterpiece. Each notification condition you to require external validation. Each like increases your addiction to approval. You upload a picture and check it 30 times. Your self-esteem rising and falling based on strangers' opinions. Your internal slave enjoys social media since it now has quantification for your compliance. Followers is equated to how good you do. Likes is equated to how good you obey. Comments is equated to how good you satisfy. You are now a dancing monkey, and the organ grinder cannot even compensate you. But here's the ugliest reality. Submission isn't even human nature. It's design dysfunction. In ancient tribes, the people who spoke out lived, who asserted resources flourished, who ruled bred. Your DNA is programmed for 50,000 years of take your fair share, or perish. Every cell in your body understands how to fight, compete, and conquer. But contemporary society didn't require warriors, it required workers. So it rewired you. The education system didn't fail you. It succeeded to perfection. It produced exactly what it was programmed to produce. An obedient worker who asks to go to the bathroom, does as he's told without questioning, and never questions why his boss earns 400 times what he earns. And the proof is around you. Still think I'm being dramatic? Let's take an in-real-time audit of your programming. How often this week did you apologize for something that wasn't your error? How many people did you swallow your opinion for because they could tip over the boat? How often did you include just to your emails? Just checking in, just wanted to see. How many possibilities did you let go by because you were looking for permission? If you're being honest, the answer is staggering. And each one wasn't you being nice. It was your inner slave keeping you in check. Want to see your programming at work? Do this immediately. Think about the most recent authority figure who showed you disrespect. Visualize staring at them and telling them, "Don't ever talk to me like that again." Observe your body's reaction. Is your heart pounding? Are your hands sweating? Is your stomach nodding? That's not fear. That's conditioning. Those physical reactions are alarm bells your inner slave placed in order to keep you from ever speaking out against authority. But see something else. Beneath that conditioned fear, something else is there. Anger, raw, clean anger. At all the times you've swallowed disrespect. That anger, that's your true nature attempting to break through. Reach into your pocket right now. Take out your phone, make a list of 3 things you committed to this week that didn't feel right to you. 3 times your inner slave trumped your gut. The meeting you didn't have to go to. The favor you didn't want to do. The disrespect you didn't speak up against. Choose one. Today you're going to turn it around. Call them up. I've had a change of heart. The response is no. No excuse, no apology, but reversal. Observe what occurs. They will be amazed, perhaps enraged. Good. That is the noise of chains breaking. That is your inner slave crying out, because you just cut its supply of food. But there is the uglier truth, the one that divides those who change from those who simply watch videos. Whenever you are too afraid to confront, you don't maintain peace. You feed the beast. Your inner slave grows stronger on stifled rage. It becomes obese on words swallowed. It feeds on that searing sensation in your chest when someone insults you and you decide to take the high road. That is not the high road. That is the path of a slave. And it goes to one place, a life of quiet desperation where you die with a question mark in your head, wondering what would have occurred had you simply spoken what you truly felt. The system taught you to police yourself, to be your own warden, to confuse your cage with safety. But you're beginning to see the bars now, aren't you? Beginning to taste the bitterness of all those times you opted for comfort over confrontation. Good. That bitterness is your fuel. That rage is your map. And that voice in your head telling you this is too extreme. That's your inner slave struggling for its life, because it knows what's to come. The deprogramming, the rewiring, the rebirth of who you were before they reached you. Your training made you weak. Your culture made you soft. Your phone made you dependent. But your nature, your true nature, it's going to make you dangerous. And they're going to respond with shock, perhaps anger, likely confusion. Good. That is the sound of your conditioning breaking. That is your internal slave realizing you just severed its food source. Section 2. Mind rewired. Phase 1. Tomorrow, someone will disrespect you. When they do, count to seconds before you apologize for what they did. That is your inner slave's favorite party trick, apologizing when they've done something wrong. It happens so quickly, you don't even realize it. They interrupt you. You apologize. They bump into you. You say, "Excuse me." They waste your time. You say thank you for it. Your voice has become a confession booth, where you're the only sinner. Time to burn it all down. Here is the ugly truth about how you're talking. Each word that comes out of your mouth is constructing a throne or digging a grave. Currently, you're 6 foot deep and still digging. The 3 voice renderings, beginning now. Rendering 1, kill the question mark. Your words are cosplaying as questions. Option A, I believe we should take. That question mark is your slave collar. Remove it. We're taking option A, period. The distinction, 1 begs, 1 commands. Test it now. Say both aloud. Notice how the question mark literally shrinks your body. That's submission at the cellular level. Execution 2, the filler word massacre. Just actually, maybe, kind of, sort of. They are not words, they're white flags. You're surrendering before the battle begins. Real calculation. The average person has 47 filler words in every conversation. Each is a micro-apology for being you. 47 times per conversation. You're saying, "Don't hurt me, I'm harmless." Beginning today, each filler word incurs 10 push-ups. See how quickly you achieve clarity. Execution 3. Decision prior to speech. Slaves think aloud. Well, I was considering perhaps sovereigns make decisions, announcements. Here's what we're doing. You're not having a think prior to speaking. The decision is finished. You're not brainstorming, you're announcing. It's not about being correct, it's about being sure. Doubt is blood in the water, and everybody's a shark. Tool. The 3 o'clock daily. 3 sentences a day. Pure command power. No softening. Send me the file. The meeting at 3. No, that's it. No, please. No, if you would. No, when you have a chance. Commands aren't impolite, they're direct. And directness is kindness to everyone who's sick of guessing what you really mean. 2. The power pause. You get challenged. Your slave self is itching to word vomit out explanations. Don't count to 5, look them in the eye, say nothing. By second 3, they'll be filling the silence. By second 5, they'll be backpedaling. Silence post-challenge isn't uncomfortable, it's math. You're showing them their opinion doesn't merit instant response. But this is what no one teaches you. Your inherited voice is murdering your true one. That submissive timbre, that's your mother's fear of acceptance. Those filler words, your father's fear of conflict, that questioning intonation, your teacher's desire for manageable students. You're a cover band playing other folks' fears. Law 4, say less than you need to. You think this is be quiet. Wrong. It is stop spilling data. When they ask why are you leaving early, and you say 3 paragraphs, you're not explaining. You're equipping them. The sovereign answer. I have plans. They press. What plans? You. Mine. Make their software crash. They want your data to feed their manipulation programs. When you refuse, you shatter their code. Tonight's task, unnegotiable. Tape yourself on any phone call. Replay. Count. How many statements trailed like questions? How many filler words taint your message? How many times you explained when to be silent? You'll be appalled. That horror is your fuel, because every just you utter cuts submission deeper into your mind. Every uptick question mark conditions your nervous system for servitude. But each clean command develops new neural pathways, dominance pathways, which go round your inner slave completely. The true cost. While you're murmuring, I just wanted to see if perhaps someone with half your intelligence is telling, make it happen, and taking what rightfully belongs to you. Not because they're superior, because their voice reflects their ambition. Your voice is a frequency. Currently, you're on the victim channel. Time to switch stations. People will pick up on it right away. You're different. You're intense. You're not as nice. Translation: you're harder to control. Perfect. The world already has too many who ask permission to breathe. It requires one who talks like physics, inevitable, non-negotiable, beyond doubt. Your inner slave talked in May. You're going to talk in verdicts now. Begin now. Next word, don't waste it. Section 3, Body Reclaimed. Phase 2. Right now, as you're reading this, you're likely doing it. That thing that screams submission louder than any words. You're nodding. A little micron nod. Perhaps at your screen. Perhaps at these words. Your inner slave nods at everything, concurring with reality as if it needs your approval to be. Tomorrow, count them. Each head bob, each aha gesture, each time your chin drops in someone's presence. The average person nods 87 times a day. That's 87 body votes for your own inferiority. 87 times you tell the world, you lead, I'll follow. But nodding is only the start of your body's betrayal, the submission inventory. Shoulders bent forward, guarding your heart like a whipped dog, head tilted and listening, exposing your throat to predators. Hands waving furiously, pleading the air for permission, eyes avoiding first, conceding every staring contest. Voice emerging from your throat, not your balls. Your body isn't only echoing your inner slave, it's nourishing it. Each submissive posture reinforces brain paths of servitude. You're actually programming weakness into your nervous system. 87 nods at a time. Hard reset time. Tool number 1, Mirror Freeze Protocol. Tonight, bathroom mirror. 90-second timer, lock eyes with self. No movement, no adjustment, no mercy, just pure unbroken contact with who you are. Most of you will break by second 20. Your inner slave despises direct confrontation. Even with self, it'll create itches, pressing thoughts, phone alerts, anything to break the gaze. Don't break. Here's what happens at each stage. 0 to 30 seconds, extreme discomfort, urge to look away. 30 to 60 seconds, your face starts changing, becoming unfamiliar. 60 to 90 seconds, you meet who's really in there. Fighters do this before every match, CEOs before hostile takeovers. Because when you can hold your own gaze without flinching, you can hold anyone's. Tool number 2, the 24-hour nod elimination. Tomorrow, no approval nods. When people speak, you provide them stillness, not submission. Substitute every nod with sustained eye contact, nothing more. Observe their software collapse. They'll speak quicker, explain more difficult, lean in further. Your stillness fills a vacuum. Their insecurity fills it. By hour 12, you will sense the transition. You will be asked, are you all right? Translation: why are you no longer making me feel at ease? By hour 24, you will realize why kings do not nod. When you do move your head once on purpose, it has verdict weight, not nervous punctuation. The strategic withdrawal, advanced. Here's what separates slaves from sovereigns when disrespected. Slaves lean in, talk faster, gesture bigger, try harder. Sovereigns pull back. Someone interrupts you. Stop mid-word, not mid-sentence, mid-word. Lean back. Silence. Don't finish the thought ever. Make them beg for the conclusion. Someone shoots down your idea. Don't argue. Pull your energy away like you're sucking oxygen from the room. Cross your arms. Avert eye contact. Check your phone. Provide them the energetic middle finger. They'll panic. No, wait. I find what you're saying interesting. Too late. That window closed. This is not pouting. It's showing them that your presence is a resource, not a right. Resources are withdrawable. The biological override. Your inner slave breathes like prey. Short, shallow, chest high. It's a fear frequency everyone unconsciously detects. Sovereign breathing comes from below the navel. Observe a baby breathing. Their entire belly heaves. That's power breathing, before fear taught you to breathe small. The reset. 3 deep breaths before you walk into every room. Inhale 4 counts through your nose. Hold it 4 counts. Exhale 6 counts through your mouth. With every breath, your shoulders drop, your spine lengthens. You're not relaxing, you're energizing, manually bypassing 20 years of submission conditioning. The instant test. Put your phone down, get up, walk to the closest mirror, gaze at your default position. Actually look. Are you standing like you're apologizing for taking up space, or like you're charging the world rent to occupy it? Shift until you occupy the space you deserve. Shoulders back but not military. Chest open but not puffed. Weight even not shifted as if you're about to bolt. This is your new normal. Not aggressive, not performative, just here unapologetically. The price of compliance. Every time you nod incorrectly, you microdose submission. Every time you roll in your shoulders, you train to be prey. Every time you lose eye contact first, you vote yourself beta. As you bob your head like a dashboard ornament, someone with half your ability is standing firm and taking your promotion. Not because they are better, because their body supports their ambition. Your body is your native language, and currently, it's speaking eloquent slavery. From now on, no more nodding at nothing, no more shrinking for comfort, no more apologizing with your atoms. Stand like you have a spine, because you do. Look like you own your space, because you do. Move like presence has a price, because it does. Your inner slave kept you small. You're soon going to occupy every inch you paid for. The world reads bodies before business cards. Ensure yours tells the right story. Section 4. Rules of Power. Phase 3. Power is not the person who speaks the loudest in the room. It's the one who gets everyone else to rethink their volume, their words, and their stance before they ever say a word. Currently, you're mixing up domination with winning arguments, but actual domination renders arguments moot because you've already won the game of psychology before anyone even opens their mouth. The distinction between authority and aggression is the distinction between a guard dog and a lion. One growls at anything that moves, and the other does not have to make a declaration of its dominance. The control paradox. Your internal slave runs prehistoric software with just 2 messages to danger. Bark more loudly back or flee faster. Both actions affirm your place in the pecking order. At the bottom, reacting to someone else's frame rather than setting your own. Real dominance functions from a third place that school did not teach you. Strategic observing. If someone is verbally attacking you, they're not really your enemy. They're an intelligence asset who's giving you a detailed report about their own issues, padded with hostility. Your internal slave is too busy building walls to unwrap this present. But today, that changes with a military-grade paradigm for emotional intelligence. The strategic paradigm for conflict mastery. Phase 1, absorption and evaluation. 0 to 10 seconds. Rather than reacting when an attack hits, you're going to feel the trigger entirely without repressing it, because repression is another kind of reaction. Count 3 slow breaths while utilizing what negotiators term the Mona Lisa smile. That little smile that indicates you have something they don't. In these crucial seconds, your body language will actually unclench, shoulders falling as though someone just shared some good news with you. Phase 2, intelligence extraction. 10 to 45 seconds. While they're waiting for counterclockwise, you're doing reconnaissance by listing exact points of data. The precise language they use tells you their individual vocabulary of hurt. Their emotional temperature indicates what they're actually experiencing under attack. Their intended outcome reveals their true objective, and their gaze reflects levels of confidence. Someone who attacks your expertise without looking in your eyes is admitting their own lack of expertise. Someone who challenges your authority while raising the pitch of their voice is declaring their need for control. Phase 3, selection of strategic response. 45+ seconds. Your menu of responses grows based upon what you've learned. The trap of clarification. I want to confirm. You're indicating that my 5 years of experience don't count, because force them to explain themselves more, which either causes them to retreat or expose further weakness. The emotional akayo. Take their power and turn it inward. That's a useful point. What do people think regarding John's concern? You've just turned their spear into a mirror. The strategic void. Complete silence with held eye contact makes a vacuum which their insecurity will strain to fill with backpedaling, rationalization, or escalation, all of which undermine their position. the executive redirect. Thank you for the feedback. Let's redirect this energy into the deliverables. You've just shown that their attack was so beside the point, it doesn't deserve direct rebuttal. Law 15. The mathematics of total crushing. Crush your enemies totally doesn't mean emotional annihilation. It means mathematical elimination from your psychological equation. Half measures in conflict create future enemies because they leave your attacker with just enough dignity to seek revenge. But total crushing through strategic indifference removes them from the game entirely. Consider this scenario. A peer publicly discredits your presentation with, "I don't know that these numbers validate your conclusion." The half-measure response defends your data zealously, affirming that their opinion counts. The total crush responds with, "That's one perspective to look at it from. Let me show you 3 others," and goes on presenting as if they made useful commentary and not attack. You haven't killed them, you've reclassified them from threat to background noise, which is psychologically damaging. Law 33. The thumb crew decoder. Each attack holds a confession, if you can decipher the language. Individuals do not choose their weapons at random. They pick attacks from their own set of pain. The executive who is always questioning budgets is insecure financially. The manager who attacks work-life balance doesn't have any. And the coworker who attacks relationships is touting loneliness. Sophisticated thumb crew recognition pattern. Attacks that involve always or never express long-term personal frustrations. Disguised questions as attacks. Don't you think? Signify passive-aggressive personality patterns. Public attacks are a sign of desperation for audience validation. Private attacks indicate they still respect your power sufficiently to fear public confrontation. The 24-hour mastery protocol. The simple protocol postpones answers for 24 hours, but mastery employs those hours as a think tank. Hours 0 to 3. Emotional documentation. Screenshot or record the attack with clinical accuracy. Next, write 3 sentences describing your emotional reaction without criticism. This is not journaling, it's pattern-building data collection. Hours 3 to 12. Strategic analysis. Plot the attack against your trigger taxonomy. Does this hit at identity, competence, belonging, or control? Check their past pattern. Is this ramping up or business as usual? Work out the real-world consequences of no response versus response. Hours 12 to 24. Response design. If response is of use to you, design it for most strategic return. Will this response advance or reduce your standing? What would complete indifference look like compared to deliberate participation? How might this response help fulfill several purposes beyond the immediate crisis? The monopoly of attention technique. Power doesn't merely control individual responses. It controls the room's full flow of attention, like a maestro leads an orchestra. When there is conflict, whoever decides attention topology dictates outcome. The 3-layer stack of attention. Admit the surface but don't take the frame. I hear that there is worry about the timeline. Take it to principle right away. This touches on something larger regarding resource allocation. Democratize the solution, but keep control. Let's workshop this. Sarah, what do you know about dealing with similar issues? You've just turned their attack on you into your demonstration of leadership, their disruption into your chance to exhibit strategic thinking. Day-to-day architecture, morning defense 3 minutes. Mark down your 3 most probable trigger points for the day and pre-select reactions from your strategic menu. If Johnson constantly questions your thoughts in the Monday meeting, your reaction is already primed. Interesting spin, Johnson. Let's put that to the test against the Q3 data. Real-time execution checklist trigger hits. Implement the 3-breath protocol while keeping your shoulders relaxed. Name the emotion to yourself. Anger competence trigger without judgment. Choose from your preloaded responses or go strategic silence. Record the interaction in your phone with a basic rating R. Reactive or S strategic. Evening optimization, 5 minutes. Look over your RS scores and note patterns, individuals, times, or situations where your inner slave is most vigorous. Today's strengthening targets those vulnerabilities. Withholding economy, strategic withholding, is not punishment. It's market economics translated into human relating. All the resources you hold, attention, energy, information, validation, availability, have market value set by scarcity. The graduated withdrawal scale, level 1, minimizes eye contact and truncated responses convey mild value adjustment. Level 2, delayed response times and canceled offhand interactions transmit inadequate repricing. Level 3. Full energetic withdrawal and channeling all communication through formal means creates new market reality. This is not passive aggression. This is active value communication. You're instructing the market what access to you really costs. The sovereign awareness. Your internal slave feels conflict as a threat to be responded to with an instantaneous fight or flight, but sovereignty sees conflict as voluntary data transfer from their weakness to your strength. Any attack is a thorough blueprint of exactly how to affect, control, or neutralize that individual in future situations. Transitioning from reactive to strategic is not about becoming unemotional. It's about being frugal with your emotions, spending them only where they pay dividends, and not wasting them on every trigger. A CEO does not react personally to each customer complaint, and you must not react personally to each emotional trigger. From today, you're not learning to fight more skillfully. You're learning how to make fighting obsolete in relation to your results. When you really internalize these principles, people test you once. Find no buttons to push, no levers to pull, no emotional slot machine to pull, and redirect their energy to softer targets. Your experiment begins now. Record each trigger for the following 7 days. Use the 24-hour process without fail, and observe your world rebalance itself to your new frequency. Power was never a matter of dominating them. It was always a matter of dominating your reaction to them. And when you shift the reaction, you don't simply change the game. You alter the entire field. The lion doesn't pursue every hyena that yaps. Not because it can't, but because it gets the economics of energy. From this day on, so do you. Section 5. Rebuilding Identity. Stage 4. Who you believe you are is merely a neurologic habit you've rehearsed so long you confuse it with reality. You wake up every morning and play the same character, same insecurities, same limitations, same apologies for being. You've played this character so persistently that you believe it's who you really are. But neuroscience shows you something your inner slave doesn't want you to know. Identity is merely habitual behavior that etched grooves into your brain. Change the behavior. Change the grooves. Change the grooves. Change who you are. The self. Deception. Here's what should disturb you. That voice in your head telling you about your life isn't documenting facts. It's constructing them. When it thinks, "I'm terrible at confrontation," your nervous system actually readjusts to make it real. When it whispers, "I always cave under pressure," your biology reshapes to make you do. You're not finding out who you are. You're making decisions about who you are, neural pathway by neural pathway. Dr. Joe Dispenza's work confirms it. Those who mentally practice piano exercises develop the same brain shifts as those who actually practiced. Their sense of self as a piano player arose without laying finger on a single key. Your brain doesn't know the difference between richly imagined experience and actual experience, which means your present sense of self is merely the story you've practiced most. Time to practice a new story. Ritual-based rewiring the protocol. Beginning tomorrow morning, you're activating the Sovereign Sunrise Protocol, a 5-minute installation of who you are prior to the world informing you otherwise. Minute 1. The mirror statement. Stand in front of your mirror, feet shoulder-width apart, hands by your sides. Look yourself in the eye and tell 3 facts of your new identity. I am a person who commands rooms without effort. I am a person who only speaks once the decision is made. I am a person who sucks energy out of disrespect, not affirmations. Identity statements, present tense, already true. Minutes 2 through 3. The Sovereign Breath Work. 7 breaths that place authority into your nervous system. Inhale for 4 counts, nose, hold for 4 counts, feeling expansive. Exhale for 6 counts, mouth with gentle force. Every exhale, let your shoulders drop lower. At breath 7, you're breathing as a person who owns their space. Minutes 4 to 5. The Future History. Close your eyes and experience one scene from today as your sovereign self. See yourself entering that meeting where you usually shrink. Feel yourself speaking with finality, not questions. Watch others adjust to your frequency instead of you adjusting to theirs. Your brain is now primed with neural pathways for this identity. The day hasn't started, but you've already lived it as who you're becoming. The command phrase arsenal. Your inner slave communicates in apologies. Your sovereign self communicates in physics. Here is your new vocabulary, with instructions on how to implement it. I do not adjust. I calibrate the room. When to use. Someone attempts to make you feel uncomfortable or defensive. How to deploy. Say it inside first, then allow your body language to follow. Straighten spine, slow breathing. Make them notice the shift. Example, boss utters, "I need you to work late again tonight." Old response, "Oh well, I suppose I can, if you really need." Sovereign response, "Wait. Breathe." Internal directive, "That won't work. Here's what I can do instead." I don't justify, I act. When to utilize. Someone is asking for explanation of your choices. How to utilize. Announce your choice, then actually move. Change papers, look at phone, walk away. Example, coworker asks, "Why didn't you copy me on that email?" Old response, "Oh sorry, I figured that because you weren't specifically involved." Sovereign response, "It didn't concern you. Back to work." My availability is an asset, not a necessity. When to use anyone makes your time, attention infinite. How to send out, make immediate shortages. Conflicting schedules, tardy replies, curtailed availability. Quiet is my native language. When to use putting pressure on talking before you're prepared. How to send out, accept the silence. Let it linger until they break. Law 25, the recreation principle. Recreate yourself isn't inspiration, it's instruction. Identity is strategy, not birthright. Your current personality is just a business plan that's failing. Time for a hostile takeover. Daniel D. Lewis not only plays his parts, he inhabits them. Living the character for months prior to shooting. He knows what your inner slave refuses. Identity is dedicated performance until it is fact. Your performance begins now. Enter every room as if you own the building. Speak as if your words are worth $1,000 per brilliant frame. Move like prey predator, not conscientious, unhurried, intentional. This isn't fake it till you make it. This is neurological architecture. Each sovereign behavior you undertake installs hardware for that identity. Law 29, the destination delusion. Plan to the end means having a precise idea of who you're becoming, then reverse engineering each action from that destination. Most people wish they'd become confident sometime in the future. They're going to behave as if confidence is your birthright, immediately. Write this down. In 5 years, who are you? Not what you've done. Who you are. Be specific. How do you come into rooms? What does your voice sound like? How do people feel around you? What energy do you bring? Now the important step, begin to become that person today at 10% intensity. Tomorrow, 11%. Your brain can't reject incremental identity changes the way it rejects radical personality changes. The shadow integration protocol. This is the darkest secret of identity. All that you have repressed for social inclusion holds your greatest strength. The aggression you suppressed to be kind. The selfishness you concealed to be virtuous. The dominance you repressed to be accepted. These are not flaws of character. These are your discarded weapons. Shadow retrieval exercise. Come up with 3 characteristics that make you feel bad about yourself. I can be so cold. I possess a cruel sense of humor. I take pleasure in watching others fail. Now reword them as strategic strength. Cold turns into, I am able to make decisions free of emotional bias. Cruel humor turns into, I cut through people's facades immediately. Enjoying failure becomes I get competition at a gut level. Your shadows are not shameful. They're your competitive edge that nice people cannot tap into. The daily identity installation. Morning 5 minutes. Sovereign sunrise protocol. Afternoon 30 seconds. Prior to any significant interaction, say to yourself, I am the one who sets the frame here. Evening 2 minutes. Replay the day from the eyes of your new identity. What would full sovereignty have done differently? The 7-day sovereignty tracker. Day 1 through 2. Your inner slave will protest energetically. Be prepared for internal pushback. Day 3 through 4. People sense something's off, but can't define it. Days 5 through 6, you find yourself automatically reacting out of sovereignty. Day 7, someone says you've been different lately. That's your sign. The biochemical reality. Each time you act from your sovereign self, your brain sends a different set of chemicals. Instead of cortisol, stress, and adrenaline, fear, you fill your system with testosterone, dominance, and serotonin status. You're actually hardwiring your identity through your own chemistry. Instant application. Stand up immediately. Get up from where you are and go to the nearest mirror. Stare at yourself in the eyes. Repeat out loud, the man I used to be is dead. The man I am rules. Gaze at yourself for 10 seconds. Walk away without turning around. That uneasiness you feel, that's your inner slave, knowing its time is running out. The permanent change of installation identity doesn't work if you use it like a costume you wear for the holidays. This is chemotherapy for your personality, aggressive, persistent, non-negotiable. Each morning you choose, practice the slave or install the sovereign. The world doesn't need another individual looking for permission to be powerful. It needs one who arrives already knowing they are the ruler, already acting from dominance, already in calibration to lead. Your former self brought you here, tolerated but not honored, included but not esteemed, here but not influential. Your new self leads you there, where your being changes rooms, your voice is authoritative, and your presence demands without apology. The slave queries, who am I? The sovereign asserts, this is who I am. One question, one assertion. Select your sentence structure, select your life. Section 6. The final shift. The arrival of the ruler. They knew you were there before you crossed the threshold. It wasn't your scent, it wasn't the sound of your steps. It was something more basic. Your energy had reached the room a full 30 seconds before your body did, and all the nervous systems in the room adjusted in silence. Talk stuttered, jokes fell flat, heads swung mindlessly around, eyes refocusing on a presence they didn't yet comprehend but intuitively felt. The atmosphere grew heavy, not with tension, but with destiny. This is not mysticism. This is quantifiable, observable physics. And now you are going to learn its formula by heart. The energy that commands without words. Each human has an electromagnetic field that radiates outward from their skin, 3 to 8 feet in every direction, detectable with instruments, mapped by the HeartMath Institute, verified by military science, and denied only by those who profit from your ignorance of it. They transmit either a prey or a predator signature. Most walk into a room radiating the former, an unspoken signal of need, apology, and permission-seeking. It's not verbal, but it's loud. It bleeds from posture, tone, and micro-expression. Before they've spoken a word, their energy is already whispered, I hope I'm allowed here. The arrival of a ruler is another thing. Their presence does not knock. It does not inquire. It comes like weather, unarguable, inevitable, a pressure system that makes the environment adapt or be ruined. The gravitational protocol. Gravity does not negotiate. Gravity doesn't excuse its tug or put warnings out for its power. It is, and by being, it acts. Your presence has to follow the same physics. In order to do so, you will need to remove from your life the 3 frequencies that erode authority. Rejection 1. Softness. Don't mistake softness for kindness. Softness is self-betrayal, masquerading as virtue. It's the softened tone that you take when setting a boundary, the tiny apologetic smile when you occupy space, the urge to placate others when it's you who are being attacked. Soft responses spread your energy like steam, vaporizing before they even hit. The ruler's energy, on the other hand, condenses like a knife. When a line is crossed, your heart can stay unpoisoned, but your field is impenetrable, a wall, not a window. Rejection 2. Apology. Count your sorries. Tomorrow, count how many times you give one for nothing. Sorry for bumping into someone in the hall. Sorry for having an opinion. Excuse me for being at full wattage. Every unnecessary sorry is an energetic bow, a slight dip of the head that informs the room precisely where you are. You are conditioning others to anticipate your submission before they have even gained your respect. The sovereign remedy is silence, where you would apologize, say nothing. Allow the moment to be. Do not fill it. Do not bend your neck where it must hold straight. Rejection 3. Emotional leakage. Your feelings are high-value information. They are not public entertainment. When you transmit every twitch of feeling, your anxiety, your excitement, your annoyance, your enthusiasm, you are streaming your internal state to the world without a paywall. Containment is not suppression. Containment is classification. You can hold the entire range within you while only exposing the colors that work for you. A ruler is not emotionless because they don't feel anything. They're emotionless because they have become a master of selective exposure. The equation in motion. When softness is traded in for unshakable edges, when apology is removed from your lexicon, when emotion is saved up until its unleashing becomes a strategic move, your energy shifts. It ceases to ask permission, and begins to exert pull. And then something amazing occurs. You no longer enter rooms. Rooms start to orbit you. Silence, the top dog of communication. This is what your inner slave never grasped. Silence is not speaking. Silence is the presence of power, so condensed words would only water it down. The physiology of sovereign silence, strategic presence, silence. 3 to 5 seconds, used after a person has finished talking before you answer. This is not processing time. It's a show that their words do not dictate your instant response. Those 3 seconds are like 30 to them, 300 to their insecurity. Estimated withholding silence, 10 seconds plus. When cornered into an answer you're not prepared to deliver. No, no fidgeting, but held gazing in total status. Observe them occupy the space with backtracking, extra offers, or spilling more than planned. Dominance, confirmation, silence, indefinite. Once you've made your point, said your boundary, or made your decision, no explanations, no understanding. Checks. No, do you understand? Just silence indicating that this is how it is now. Adapt accordingly. Law 38, the camouflage principle. Think whatever you want, act like others. But now comes the sophisticated application. Your power needs to be sensed, not declared. The instant you say, I'm alpha, or I'm in charge, you're already lost. Real masters allow their presence to do the declaring. What you do in practice is go into the meeting with the same clothes, same greeting, same surface behavior as usual. But energetically, you're on a different frequency. You're thinking sovereignty while acting normally, accumulating power while showing conformity. This isn't sneaky, it's strategy. The lion roars not all the time to establish its king. It just takes up space in such a manner that challenge is inconceivable. Law 48, the mastery of formlessness. Let's think formlessness as becoming energetically unpredictable. When you possess fixed patterns, always being aggressive, always being nice, always being withdrawn, you become controllable. But when your energy fluctuates according to strategic calculation and not emotional response, you become uncontrollable. Monday, warm and inviting, they bring down defenses. Tuesday, cold and aloof, they ask themselves what happened. Wednesday, intensely concentrated, they need your attention. Thursday, dismissively indifferent, they question their significance. Friday, haughtily mute, they restructure around your enigma. No pattern means no prediction, means no control over you. The 3-day silence ritual. This isn't meditation, it's military-grade energetic training that will reveal exactly how much noise your inner slave generates to avoid the weight of true presence. Day 1 basics. No excess talk, just necessary speaking. No explaining unless specifically requested. No weather remarks, small talk, or social oiling. Count all the words before talking. Do you need to do this? You will find that you talk 78% more than is needed. That 78% is your internal slave's fear made vocal. Day 2, escalation. Everything day 1, and no excuses even when questioned. Substitute verbal answers with gestures where you can. If you have to talk, pause for 3 seconds first. Finish every statement with period energy, not question marks. By lunchtime, individuals will inquire as to whether you are all right. Good. Your silence is reconditioning their expectations. Day 3, integration. Keep all former limitations. Introduce no emotional response manifesting on your face. Allow discomfort to be without resolving it. When other people complete your silence with anxious speech, don't bail them out. Record what you notice about other people when you drop performing. At day's end, you'll get it. Your words weren't communication. They were comfort, and comfort is the favorite drug of slavery. The vibrant arrival. Once these 3 days, something visceral changes. You move into spaces differently, not expecting to fit in, but granting space to realign around your vibration. Your arrival does not seek attention. It demands molecular reorganization. They will sense it before they know it. Speech falters mid-sentence as you enter. The ones who tend to dominate suddenly yield. Hostile personalities become strangely polite. The anxious chatter more. The assertive speak deliberately. You haven't grown ugly. You've grown huge, energetically weighty, in a world of darkness. The final acknowledgement. Your whole life, you've been informed that leadership is charisma, communication, connection. Fibs told by those who require you manageable. Actual leadership derives from one place, energetic sovereignty, that needs no explanation. You don't lead because you are charismatic. You lead because your presence rearranges physics. You don't command via words. You command via frequency. You don't succeed by being liked. You succeed by being inevitable. The permanent change. Tomorrow morning, before you say one word, do it. Stand in your living room. Sense your energy spreading out to fill the room. Keep that expansion up for 60 seconds. Now pull it all back into your center. Go into your day with that compressed energy. You're not bringing something new. You're taking away all that made you little. Every apology, every justification, every anxious word meant to make people comfortable with you being here. You are now psychologically untouchable. Not because you don't feel anything. You feel everything. But feeling doesn't equal bleeding. Emotion doesn't equal exhibition. Power doesn't equal performance. You're untouchable because you found the ultimate truth. Nobody can make you flinch when flinching isn't in your vocabulary anymore. Nobody can shrink you when you've asserted your full energetic size. Nobody can control you when you've become the immovable center around which others have to orbit. Your internal slave pleaded for acceptance. Your sovereign self needs to adjust. The change is done, not due to new tricks learned, but due to remembering who you were prior to learning to apologize for it. Enter every room from this day forward, like physics itself, unstoppable, unrepentant, steadfast in your right to exist at full strength. The slave requested permission. The ruler simply arrives. And arrival, genuine arrival, rearranges all things. You now know how to perform your inner slave, how to erase the voice that has been selecting failure for you since you were a little kid in kindergarten, how to get perilously confident in 72 hours. But here's the reality. Knowledge without application is entertainment. 99% of you will shut this video down and return to apologizing for being alive, back to softening your tone, back to shrinking in rooms full of smaller men. But some of you felt something move, something irrevocable, something that cannot be ignored. For you, it's only the start. If you want to delve deeper to access the high-level protocols I can't post on YouTube, join thousands of others who killed their inner slave at our complimentary newsletter below. Inside, you'll find the 5-minute morning regimen that installs sovereign mindset before the world can program you. The very words that cause individuals to shift to your vibration, not vice versa. The body position changes that demand respect prior to speaking. Advanced psychological methods prohibited on public platforms. This is not a newsletter. It's an actual community of individuals who opted for sovereignty rather than safety. But get it, when you're in, you're not going back to who you were. We don't comfort, we don't nice, we do transformation. Subscribe for free now at the link below. And if this video revealed truths you had to hear, do 2 things. 1. Subscribe to this channel and click the notification bell. Not for me, for the version of you that is ready to quit playing small. 2. Comment below, the slave dies today. Let the algorithm know you're ready for more. Let your subconscious hear you declare war on weakness. Because no matter if you subscribe or not, no matter if you comment or say nothing, something's for darn tootin'. Someone tomorrow will disrespect you. Someone will push against your limits. Someone will hope the old you will appear. And in that instant, you'll either put into action today what you learned or demonstrate your inner slave is still in charge. The decision was always yours. You simply couldn't see that until now. Join us on the Philosophical Essence newsletter below. The comfortable die alone. The risky die legendary. Die wisely. Till the next time.